It is Bronze and Modern Gods. I'm John, and that dashing man over there is Richard. Richard, I see you got the memo to wear your black comic book t-shirt.
Yes.
Excellent. Hey, if you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, why not do that at Bronze and Modern Gods? Give us a like. If you like our videos, subscribe. That's even better. And if you want to know when they go live, hit that ding-dong notification bell, and it'll tell you. Hey, how about a live sale this Friday, Richard?
Oh, that sounds like an awesome idea, John.
We're going to have a live sale, Bronze and Modern Gods live sale. You know, it's a lot of fun when we do it. It's at the Bronze and Modern Gods Instagram page. So please go follow us there and hit that notification on Instagram. We're going to do it this Friday, August 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I did it for you this time, Richard. I put Eastern on first. Again, that's Friday, August 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for the Bronze and Modern Gods live sale. Oddball books, Bronze Age, Moderns. Richard's got his variants, his stray dogs. I don't know. What else do you got?
Oh, yeah, all kinds of stuff. I'm actually getting a shipment in from CGC this week. So, some fresh meat.
I got some high dollar slabs coming back that'll be in that live sale. So don't forget this Friday. Today's topic, comic book NFTs. Pause for tomatoes being thrown at me. Okay. Dodge, dodge, dodge. What are they? And are they here to stay? The answers might surprise you. We also have our 25-year rule, our underrated books of the week. But first, our hot book of the week. Richard, it is Marvel Comics #1, the NFT. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, boy. I think one of the first things we need to determine is if these NFT books count as comic books.
Oh, we'll get to that, I think.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this for a second. This was Marvel's very first digital comic book to be sold as an NFT via the VV app. More on that in a moment. They released 60,000 of these. Out of those 60K, there were some randomly distributed variants. You have common, uncommon, rare, ultra rare, and secret rare. Okay. The secret rare Marvel Comics #1 with this variant cover you see here was limited to 600 of the 60K. 600 of the 60K. It's now selling for $2,000 on the marketplace on VV, which is
listed for $2,000.
Oh no, it's sold for $2,000 on the marketplace.
Oh, it did on the marketplace.
Marketplace.
Okay. Gotcha.
We'll talk about very good point. There's a very big difference here that we'll get to later on. But still, that's not bad for a $6.99 investment for something that cost you $6.99. But big giant but, the common is now selling for around $1.
Right.
So the lesson here so far is that the only things holding value here in this space appear to be anything but the commons, which there are 48,000 of the 60,000 that are common.
Yeah, and the common is the one that the cover is in color and the most attractive. And you go from the most attractive to the least attractive when you get to that secret rare. It's really
secret rare is
really
cool.
strange.
It's a panel from the book as
it's a unique one. It's a
yeah.
unique cover.
Yeah. The other ones are just variations of black and white with some color spots. Yeah. This thing dropped last week. It was the first of 3 Marvel Comics drops on the VV app. This one sold out in less than 3 minutes. So that is a great segue into our main topic. Comic book NFTs. What the heck are these things? What do we mean? What are they about? Let's get into it, Richard. Cut me off at any time. All right.
Okay. I'm going to give you some.
This week, as I said, Marvel dropped its first 3 comic book NFTs in partnership with something called VV. This is an app that you can get in the Apple Store, the Google Play Store. Now, these NFTs are digital copies of Marvel Comics #1, Fantastic Four #1, and for some reason, Journey into Mystery 85, First Loki. Why they picked that one, I get it.
I don't. Why not something else like Avengers one or something like that?
The Loki TV series. I don't know what I don't know what the logic was there. They are full digital copies of the stories. You don't get the ads. You don't get the back cover. You don't get anything like that. They dropped one a day over a 3-day period last week. The crazy thing is they sold 60,000 of the Marvel Comics #1 and the Fantastic Four #1 in under 3 minutes. They sold 50,000 of the Journey into Mystery 85. For some reason, that was just limited to 50K, maybe because they saw it was Loki. They said, we're not going to be able to do that. The FF1, which was the last one to drop on Saturday morning, sold out in less than 60 seconds. I watched it. It was crazy. We're talking over $1 million in gross revenue in less than 5 minutes.
Right.
That is insane. So what is an NFT? First, I want everybody, including Richard, to turn off your lizard brain. Do you know what your lizard brain is?
Yeah, it's that core part of you, the fight or flight reflexes and your instinctual part.
I hate this. I love physical comic books. What are you doing? Yeah, stop talking about this. I need everybody to shut that part of your brain off for 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes, okay? You can love it or hate it, but you have to go into these things with an open mind, just so you're informed, so you know what's going on. You can still hate it afterwards, but don't come at me in the comments yet, okay? An NFT is a non-fungible token. Now, that is a fancy pants way of saying it's a one-of-a-kind, digitally minted, limited edition collectible. It could be a figure, a 3D figure. It could be a picture. It could be a comic book that's digital. Think of it as a numbered limited edition, like a lithograph or a music box set. You know, when they do limited edition box sets and there's only 5,000 of them, you get number 2,562. That's what this is. NFTs can only be purchased primarily with Ethereum, the major digital currency for this. This has been a big barrier to entry to most people. That's why not a lot of people have gotten into this, because what's Ethereum? I don't have Ethereum. However, more and more NFT sellers are creating apps that can handle payment via Google or Apple Wallet, which are then converted to this digital currency for payment. VV is one of these. So think of the Marvel drop as a limited edition replica copy, okay? Each one individually numbered through a process called minting, then assigned to you and you alone when you purchase it. It can't be copied or replicated in any way. I saw a lot of comments. We posted about this on Instagram earlier this week. People are like, what's stopping me from just making a screen grab of this and saying it's an NFT? You can't do that. There's a lot of metadata and stuff behind the actual one. So you're not actually getting a copy when you do that. You then own this NFT. You can keep it, you can transfer it to someone else, or you can sell it on the VV marketplace. So how does this all work? I'm going to walk you through it, because poor Richard tried to buy one Saturday morning along with me, and he did not have any success. Why was
I was completely unprepared. I did not do my research as I typically do, because I was late.
All right.
But you need to purchase ahead of time, other than setting up your account, which is a pain in the butt. But you need to purchase gems.
Yeah, let me walk people through from the beginning. Once you've signed up, which Richard said is an experience of itself, okay? I was trapped on the email verification step for about an hour because I kept getting a 404 error. So you got to do this way beforehand. You can't do it the day of or the morning of. So go ahead and get your account set up if you're interested in this. This is where you're then going to add gems to your wallet. Gems. This is where you basically use your Apple, your Google wallet to buy Ethereum. This is an important step to take before anything new drops, because you're going to be wasting time buying gems instead of the NFT. And like poor Richard here, you're going to miss out. And then when you have the gems in your wallet, they're sneaky. You can only buy them in groups of 5. And most of these are $6.99. So I have gems left over.
Of course you do. And you have no way of converting them back to a currency.
Well, we'll get to that. Then you just wait for the next drop to be announced and be there when the countdown clock hits 0. It's just like an eBay auction at that point. You know, you're sitting there waiting to snipe. Okay. That's literally what I did is, first of all, I missed out on both the Marvel Comics and the Journey into Mystery drops. I just assumed with 50,000 for the Journey into Mystery and 60,000 for the Marvel, there's going to be plenty left by the time I got around to it. Wrong. less than 5 minutes for both of those. I got up at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday morning for the Fantastic Four drop. They really got to stop with the 8 a.m. Pacific time drops. The whole West Coast here, the seat of technology is having to set their alarms early to get these things. Less than a minute into the drop, the sold out notification appeared, and they were gone. I watched the countdown go to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and I hit buy now, and then it processes. You got to wait for it to process. It took a few seconds, but then it was done. And I thought, do I want to get another one? No, I was happy with one. And by the time that whole thing went through all that, it was sold out.
That's a good question. Can you buy more than one at a time?
You can buy as many as you want, but you can buy one at a time.
Okay.
You can't put like 5 in your cart and hit buy now. You have to buy one, wait for it to process.
Okay.
Buy another one, wait for it to process.
So that's going to stop whales from being a part of this process if you're forced to buy them individually.
It stops the bots too, but people were able to get 3 or 4, maybe even 5, because they had enough gems and then processing went fast enough that they got stuff. So I'm going to show you what I ended up with. Here it is. It's a Fantastic Four #1 uncommon 1 in 10. And my edition number is 47,391 out of 60K. That's hitting the button at the countdown 0. 2 things are driving the pricing of these things on the secondary market. How uncommon the NFT is, those variants, and the lower edition number. So mine's pretty high, so it's not anything super expensive. Now, when you sell the NFT on VV, you're really just getting that amount back in gems. You're not getting cash.
So and Marvel gets a premium from that, right? They have a transaction fee, part of that transaction.
That is the real great thing for the licensor like Marvel. Not only do they get their percentage from the initial sale, they get a percentage off every sale of those NFTs forever thereafter. Found money. So what do I do with these gems? I bought my FF1 1 in 10. It's worth about $18 on the marketplace now. Someone buys it for me on the marketplace. What do I do then? Well, basically I have 18 gems. Now, you can then convert your gems to OMI cryptocurrency, but you can't do it to cash yet. The cryptocurrency being used on this platform is OMI or OMI. So how do you actually sell these things for cash? Guess what? eBay.
Yeah.
People are selling these on eBay. They list it. They list the edition number. They list what it is. And once the eBay transaction goes through, they can just do a transfer to that buyer's account on the VV app. You don't have to get gems from them or anything. You just transfer it over to them. So what does this all mean, Richard? I'll give you my perspective. You guys know from listening to the show and my comments before, I was the biggest skeptic. But now I got to admit, it kind of got me. I was excited. I had my alarm set for the night before, and I kept waking up early like, Christmas, is it Santa here? And it was fun. I think I got a really good first experience because I bought one and I got something uncommon. If I had bought one and I got, the common one that's worth $1 now, I may have a less rosy outlook. But here's my thing about this. People are really emotional about this. Like, this is not what I want. I want something physical and it's going to kill comics. And no, I don't think it's either or. I don't think it's a war between physical or NFTs. I think it's 2 very different audiences. There is some crossover. I think there's room for both in the hobby. But just be aware, from everything we've seen so far, the vast majority of these things are commons, which are basically dollar bin books at this point. Okay. So, but who knows what's going to happen in the future if these things take off? To have even the first Marvel comic NFT that came out in 2021 during a pandemic, if these things last for 10, 15, 20 years, that dollar common NFT might be a $30 thing or a $50 thing or a $100 thing. What do you think?
John, you ignorant slut. Let me give you the counterpoint to this. Um, you know, there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, these transactions, at first, I was afraid were going to be like the nightmare that has hit the gaming market of loot boxes. This whole concept where you can spend real money to buy fake money,
Mhm.
gems or stars or whatever it is, and then use the fake money to buy boxes that are basically gambling. You open the box and you get a random assortment of things out of that box.
You know, like a mystery box.
Kind of like a mystery box. People are, some people have a real addiction to that process. And I think that takes advantage of people with those addictions. Games like FIFA and Madden have make literally billions of dollars on that mechanic, the loot box mechanic. And mechanics. I was afraid that this was going to end up being the comic book equivalent of that. To me, I think it escapes that. The fact that you cannot buy 20 of them at once, for example. You have to go through the effort of buying each one individually. This is all backed up by blockchain technology. So every time you buy a book, it goes onto the blockchain, and it is a part of the fabric of that for basically forever. I mean, you have that particular ID as a part of blockchain. I still wonder though, at a core level, are these comic books? Is this if I have, one of the books on the wall behind me, those are comic books by the classic definition. Are the things that we're talking about here, are they also comic books, or are they something different? And if there's something different, I don't have a problem with it. There's a different mindset towards them, and maybe a different audience towards them, and that's fine. But if they're considered to be the same thing as these physical books that I have on the wall, I think I have a problem with that.
Let me counter that by asking you, are digital comics in general comic books?
I think they're renditions of comic books, but I don't think they're comic books themselves.
There's your answer. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I agree with you. I think the physical will always be the physical. Even in music, Spotify, streaming, you still have vinyl. Vinyl had its best year in 30 years last year.
Mhm.
So even kids want vinyl. Kids, those kids out there with their wacky hair and their hula hoops.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'm afraid of this. I think my concerns are more the longevity of it and the security of you're going to spend $7, right? Or you're going to spend $2,000. You're going to spend some kind of money on this. What's the odds of that money being worth um, that purchase being worth something in 10 years, for example?
Like Ultimate Fallout 4?
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
So that we talked about this count as comic book collecting. Another question I had was what happens when a VV goes out of business? If I shouldn't say when, if they go out of business, you've invested, let's say for this whole conversation, you've invested $1,000 in purchasing NFTs, either through buying them originally or purchasing them on the marketplace. So what happens if VV goes out of business?
Yeah, there has been some talk about there's an open sea marketplace is what it's called, and will these be available for sale on this open, like a kind of an open source marketplace? And Vivi, to their credits, like eventually we're gonna get there. So someone's thinking about that besides you, but it's a really good question.
So what happens if the licensing changes in some way? So if a copyright or a license changes for a produced digital comic in this
Yeah.
format, does Marvel have the ability to reach in and remove properties for legal reasons, for example?
You've got two companies that probably have very high profile lawyers in big business affairs departments. I would be shocked if this licensing deal with Vivi was in perpetuity.
Mhm.
I would also be shocked if it wasn't. So
Yeah.
that, so that's kind of my way of waffling and saying, who knows?
Yeah. Well, and to that, also in Marvel's camp, what happens? Marvel sees a lot of money in this. Like you said, there's $1 million in 5 minutes. There's no way that can't be on the minds of the executives there. What happens if they decide, well, we made $450,000 off Marvel #1. Let's print up another, 60,000 Marvel #1s, because there's nothing technically stopping them from doing that.
They would have to differentiate it in some way. Maybe it's editions 61,000 through 120,000. I don't know if they would do that, though, because the whole point of this is that it's one and done. That the scarcity is what drives this. But we're also talking about a company that did 7 printings of Ms. Marvel #1.
Right.
So yeah, that is a good concern.
I don't know. I see the profit that they can elicit from this whole thing, right? They can
Yeah.
make, and there's such a low barrier to simply increasing that number from 60,000 to 120,000. There's little they have to do to make that happen. There's very little that Vivi has to do to make that happen.
Here's what's appealing to companies like Marvel and Disney. DC's even doing this with digital collectibles. They haven't done comic books yet. Come on, DC. The split between the licensor, Marvel, and the licensee, Vivi, is so incredibly high in Marvel's favor. It's crazy. So it's actually really cost effective for them to let Vivi do all this technological heavy lifting for them, because they don't have the infrastructure to do this. They don't have the blockchain. They're not, Disney's not set up to do this themselves yet. They didn't have a streaming service before.
Right.
So the split is really in their favor. So this is money under the couch cushions for them right now at this point.
Yeah, $1 million to Disney is not a lot, but all they have to all they have to do is look at FIFA, or look at Madden, or any of the other examples of people taking a form of digital currency and exposing it to their audience. And I think there are opportunities for the wrong people making the wrong decisions in this whole thing.
Yeah, I will say it was as seamless as an experience as it could have been for me. The only hiccup was the sign-up process, which I'm glad I did that a few days before, because I would have really been pissed and frustrated.
You should ask my wife how much I was swearing as I'm going through the process. I'm trying to be in a hurry and go through that sign-up process.
You were not alone. There were a few expletives thrown around here. The poor cats had to hear it. But I'm glad I did it. And I will say, if they got an old fart like me that loves physical comics to do it, and to walk away from it going, oh, that was kind of fun, there might be hope. Maybe I'm just a dreamer. I know I'm not the only one.
No, it's like I said. I think that the delineation between comic books and digital collectibles, I think, needs to be honored. And as long as that's the case, as long as I collect comic books and I maybe dabble in digital collectibles, that's fine. When they try to merge those two universes together, I think it's oil and water, and I think there will be issues with it. But I have no problem with this existing in its own self as a separate type of collectible.
Maybe that's what DC's strategy is, because, like, as I said, DC's part of this too, but they're not doing comic books. They're doing digital collectibles. And they have plenty of Batman and Harley and Poison Ivy, even Big Barda. Big Barda digital collectibles that are already selling for major money on eBay. I'm going to put something on the screen here of a couple of these selling for $10,000, and another one, they're one of ones, or not one of ones, but ultra rare ones. They're super crazy. That's one thing we haven't seen yet, though, which is big in the NFT space, is a one of one.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
This whole, I also think that this whole thing brings in a whole new audience.
Yes.
I think there are a lot of people who may not necessarily be interested in collecting the physical comic books, but may be into this digital. Because I remember I was looking online at some of this stuff, and OMI is a currency that is traded, and they were looking at these digital collectibles as a factor in the value of that currency. So there's a whole market of these people who are into cryptocurrency and the impact that it has, that are looking at comic books because there is a form of cryptocurrency attached to it now. So
I went beyond that. I was actually thinking about buying some Ami. Because if this takes off, that is the cryptocurrency of record for it. So it would rise up potentially, or I could just be the biggest rube they saw coming.
No, I have no problem being. I love to jump in feet first. I am the one who buys the Apple product the day that it comes out. And I think that's great. And being first into it gives you certain advantages and certain disadvantages. So yeah, I wish I could have gotten that Fantastic Four #1.
I know that's why you're mad, just because you didn't get one. I do think you're right. There's a huge Venn diagram of comic book collectors, tech nerds, you and me, digital collectibles people over here. And there's just this little space in here where you and me and a few people live with all these things. And we kind of go, oh, this is exciting. But boy, the reaction to that Instagram post I put up earlier this week, again, it was kind of like our last few shows where it's been 50-50. So it's your turn, people. Spout off. What do you think? NFTs, are they here? Are they going to stick around? Are they worth it? Are you just like, what the heck?
Are they the pet rock of this generation?
I hope hopefully explained it a little bit to people who just can't seem to grasp what is an NFT. What is it actually? My best advice to you is just download the VV app and just start exploring. Go look. Lots of things wrong with the VV app still. You have to select digital comics from the drop-down menu at the top to find them. The marketplace, you can sort by low to high sales or most recent, but you can't sort by sold, so you can't look at sold prices. The only way people are seeing sold prices is by this public spreadsheet that's making the rounds. So there's a lot to fix still. It's early days.
And the marketplace was unavailable for a period of time as well, which was
down half the day Saturday, correct. So, you also see weird things in the marketplace, like people putting up the commons for $9 million. Good luck with that. So let us know in the comments. We're really curious what you guys think, and check it out if you are so inclined.
Let's put it this way. If your favorite comic book came up as an NFT, would you buy it?
Yeah. Fantastic Four #1 is one of Richard's favorite comic books, and he was up and ready to go. So now he hates NFTs. That's why.
Hate them totally.
Hey, I have an uncommon 1 in 10 for you if you want it. It's 18 gems, buddy.
18 gems. Oh God.
Just send those gems over here. Could you imagine something like this existing in the early days of the internet 25 years ago?
Oh, I see what you did there.
It's time for the 25-year rule. You gave your microphone a whack across the face when you did that. Our 25-year rule book this week is Starlord Magazine #1. Hurry! Starlord Magazine. Marvel in the mid-90s was trying their best to hold on to newsstand distribution as much as they could. And one method they did for this was to create the magazine, which was a double, triple-sized comic book that reprinted a whole bunch of stories for a value price. They had Spider-Man magazine, they had Marvel Comics magazine, all sorts of stuff. This was the Starlord magazine. In 1996, it reprinted the classic Chris Claremont and John Byrne stories from Marvel Preview. It also sports, Richard, a nifty new Byrne and Austin cover and a new wraparound sequence by Chris Claremont and Michael Golden. There is new material in this book. This was done to get people up to speed for a new Starlord miniseries that launched later in 1996. And I get the feeling that this book and the miniseries were not done back in 1996 because people were going, I miss Starlord. Where's Starlord? I think they were published primarily to keep the trademark secure, which, in retrospect, good move, Marvel.
Yeah, way to be forward looking.
Exactly. Considering what the future held for this character. That's why a lot of times you'll see books that just one shots that come out, like Bug from Micronauts. Why does Bug have his own book? Because to keep that trademark, they have to be featured in a book on the cover with a logo. There are specific rules to keep the trademark for that character. And if they do not do that, they lose that trademark after a certain amount of years. So you see these weird one shots.
Unless you're Mickey Mouse, then you get to keep the trademark forever.
Or Superman.
Superman.
This book, according to Comic-Con, had direct market sales of 9,276 copies, which is pretty darn low for a book from 1996. I think a lot of these were made for newsstands, but we know what happens to newsstand distribution in 25 years ago. But you can grab a raw copy off eBay for anywhere from $5 to $30, depending on who you're talking to. Most are around $10. So this was a weird little oddity.
Yeah, cool. I was unfamiliar with this until I saw it here.
There it is. Time for our underrated books of the week. Richard, you and your funny animals. Are you a furry? Are you a furry?
Could you see me as a furry? I don't think that would.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be set on people's stomachs.
A kangaroo. Richard, kangaroo. My name's Roo. Hi.
Oh, my pick is Critters number 47 from 1989. This is the first book of the Birthright series, which was a 3-issue limit, call it a story arc in Critters. So Fantagraphics is famous for publishing additional Usagi Yojimbo stories, as well as focusing on other stories like one of my favorite titles, which is Love and Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, funny animals seem to be their specialty. So this particular set of stories was written by Steve Galacci. It's, like I said, a three book story arc about a family of royal foxes who are deposed from their planet, and civilization is collapsing around them, and they're trying to salvage what they can. It's actually a very involved, very deep, very politically oriented storyline for a bunch of bunnies and foxes and bears. I think that's one of the strange twists to this whole storyline. It's a very dystopian society that they're living in, and like I said, they're trying to make the best out of it. It happens very, very close to the end of the Critters run. Critters only ran 50 issues, so this was 47, 48, and 49. And so at this time, it has a really, really low print run. How low? Well, I wasn't able to find anything in Comic-Con that actually talked about Critters, so I wasn't able to look that up. But the census data doesn't lie. There is a total of one book on the census for this particular issue, and it is a 9.8. So GPA, there are no entries for this book in GPA. You can buy these books on eBay for around $60. And I say around $60, but the price seems to fluctuate. This is a popular, at least from what I've been able to tell, I remember when this particular story came out, popular storyline. That one single 9.8 is on eBay right now, and it's listed for $12,000.
Gems.
I don't know how many gems that equates to.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I don't believe it's worth $12,000. It is the sole 9.8. This is the sole book graded for this particular issue. Yet I don't think it's really worth that. But that's what this particular series evokes for those fans of Critters.
What was this particular storyline in this issue? Is that the expensive one, or are all the Critters near the end around $60? Do you know?
This one is the first one, and it's the most expensive of the 3 books in this story arc, at least from what I've looked at. I've seen all 3 books in the story arcs up on eBay for $250, $250 to $300 for all 3 books. If you were to buy just the one book, it's typically about $60 to $100 for issue 47.
How did you know about this story? Were you still reading the book at the time, or?
It's a good question. I stopped reading. I stopped reading these books around 1990. So this is some of the last books that I was collecting for my original collecting career, if you want to call it that. So I remember buying these books. I remember reading them, and it was one of those storylines that kind of stuck with you. You may not have remembered the particular details of it, but you remembered the situation. And so this is one of those books, and I have over 60 different saved searches in eBay, and then I am constantly watching and monitoring for different things that I'm looking for. Now, this one has been a saved search of mine for the last year and a half, and I just realized, well, this is probably an underrated book. If I'm looking for it, I'm sure other people are as well. So that's why I decided to bring it up today.
Wow, good one. Mr. Left Field Furry. Are you going to the furry convention later? Don't make fun of the furries, John. You're being a bully. All right, my underrated book this week is The Outlaw Kid number 10. Marvel was trying to crowd DC off the newsstands, so the early 1970s saw the launch of many reprint titles, including The Outlaw Kid, which started off by reprinting old 1950s Atlas stories from the series of the same name. But after a 6-month hiatus after issue 9, the book hit the stands with issue 10. A new origin tale was included by Mike Friedrich and Dick Ayers. And I love on the cover, it says, in the style of a Western Spider-Man.
Wow, the tables have turned.
What is the quote about little Lisa Simpson? The answer to a question nobody asked. Who asked for a Western Spider-Man? These new stories ran through number 16, at which point the book went back to reprinting 1950s tales and ran all the way to issue 30 until number 27, when it began reprinting the new 1970s stories just 2 years after they originally appeared. There is not a lot of GPA data on this book. Let me get it out of the light here. There we go. It is tough and grade, though. Look at that black picture frame cover, and you can see why. The most recent sale on GPA for this book was for a 9.2 back in 2019 for a whopping $35.
Wow.
That's a friggin' steal. If you can find this book in a 9.2 for $35, can you buy it and send it to me? I will give you 35 gems for it. But, I love those just oddball Marvel 70s Bronze Age stuff. And this definitely is in that wheelhouse. I have a full run of The Outlaw Kid. Yeah, I'm the one. So if you are looking for something that is in the style of a Western Spider-Man, here it is.
That is amazing. It is amazing that Marvel was taking that kind of marketing strategy. Let's produce a title simply to crowd the shelves so that DC doesn't have, that visibility.
That's what Martin Goodman, the publisher, did. Even back in the 50s, they had, I think at one point, 77 titles on the stand. It was really a strategy to okay, romance is hot. Don't put out one romance book, put out 13 romance books. Millie the model is hot. Let's do modeling with Millie and Patsy and Heidi. Yeah, I just brought up Millie again. So this was a strategy that he could not do during the 60s because after Atlas imploded, they were restricted to 8 titles a month from their new distributor, Independent News, who was DC Comics. So when they got free of that in the late 1968, that's when you saw an explosion of new titles. Iron Man, Submariner, Captain America, all those split books of Tales of Suspense and Tales to Astonish, they all got their own books.
Oh, see, we're learning, John. You are the professor.
The more you know, rainbow. All right, that is about it for this week. Remember, Friday, this coming Friday, the date is August 27th. The time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It is the Bronze and Modern Gods live sale on Instagram. So go follow us on Instagram at Bronze and Modern Gods and on Facebook as well while you're at it. Richard, you going to price some books?
Yep, gonna price some books. Show up just to hang out. We have a good time. It is not one of those, staid, formal kind of events. We joke and laugh. We have theme songs. We have giveaways, all kinds of stuff.
We have the notorious, infamous Chicken Hand. If you've never seen Chicken Hand, you will see Chicken Hand on Friday. And maybe I'll sell my Fantastic Four NFT on the live sale.
Oh, you trendsetter, you.
I want to be the first person to do that. So show up Friday. Let's see what happens. And we will see you then.
Everybody stay safe.